Greetings and salutations, friends. I am Jeremy Tank, and if you are watching this, I am your brand guy. What does that mean? Well, that means that you've got somebody on your side, in your corner, and coming up to bat for you with knowledge about branding and working on brands and actually thinking about all the kind of psychology and behavior all behind that stuff. So you know how you just got somebody on your side working with you as you kind of work through your websites and marketing and all that stuff. It's a nice, bright, sunny day here in, thanks, Teresa. It's a nice, bright, sunny day here in Seattle. I'm just kind of laying low today, and I want to share a little bit about with you guys strategy versus tactics, because, well, first of all, I hope you guys have enjoyed the content I was sharing last week about the law of attraction and vibration, frequency, all these different things having to do with internal processes of creativity and consciousness, the subconscious, the conscious, all that sort of stuff. I would love to share more of that with you guys. If you enjoyed it, just put a little note down below in the comments. Say something that tell me something that you learned or that you want to know more about, because I keep doing increasing amounts of study in that stuff, learning how to manage my own mind, learning how to teach my mind how to manage my body in a better way, and really helping me feel more, well, I guess holistic is one way to say it, but just better at being me. And that's kind of where I reached the point that I wanted to share today, is strategy versus tactics. Because this is one of those conundrum things in the corporate world that I dealt with a lot, where someone would tell me what they considered a strategy, and the more that I listened to it, the more I said, oh, okay, that's a tactic. So what's the goal? An example of this was a conversation I had earlier today with somebody who was really trying to pitch me their program, really it was a program. They were trying to pitch me their program, saying, you know, you need this for the people who are interested in you, for the people that are signing on with you, for the people that are going along with you. You need to make sure that you get their email and you send them. You need to have a really strong email strategy. And I said, oh, an email strategy. Okay, so what exactly, to you, is an email strategy? Because to me, I've got, I don't know, a dozen different ideas what an email strategy could be. So I'm like super curious, what is an email strategy? What's the secret here, right? And in all seriousness, the guy said, look, it's a super easy strategy. First, you offer them something for free on your website, and they sign up, and they give you their email. And then you send them an automated email. And then the next day, it felt so nefarious. The next day, you send them another. And the next day, you send them another. And I've got 8 emails as part of my strategy to get people to understand and like you and then sign up for what you're doing. I listened and I said, first of all, that sounds really annoying. I mean, I delete shit out of pardon my language, I delete stuff like that out of my email daily because I've signed up for far too many things that I just don't care about. And I know that a lot of the people that I talk to are a lot like me. They're just tired of it. And pretty much everything that's marketing these days, including that's just marketing, and that is part of a marketing strategy. I'm not sure that's really email strategy. What's your goal? To get people to sign up for the sales list? Well, that's marketing strategy, to get people signed up. And email strategy is essentially 8 or 9 email tactics. Okay, to get people, you got people on the list, and then you're trying to just get them to sell something. And I said, you know, I just don't believe you're using the word strategy right. Strategy is to create, you know, a change between state A and state B, and you're telling me that your strategy is to annoy people through email until they sign up with whatever you're doing. And I asked, you know, what value are you providing in each of the emails? And he said, well, it's a really well-written sales letter. Okay, guys, I've gotten kind of tired over the last week of reading sales letters and talking with people that are pitching me things. And I've gotten a little bit hoarse, actually. I'm a little less high energy today because I'm a little bit hoarse from having conversations and telling people no, it's just not worth it. The things you're saying, the way you're putting things are just not worth it. And so strategy, let's refine, let's think about this word. Let's create a new alignment between strategy, because my strategy for myself is to become a better myself. And I hope that you have that strategy for yourself too. Every day that goes by, you are experiencing different things. You are going to work. You are starting your own work. You are talking with people. You are holding conversations. And hopefully, part of your strategy in there is to become the person that you always hoped you would become, right? And in that case, what we can say is that there's a starting point, whoever you are today, now, and there's an end point. And that's whoever you want to be. That is the traits that you want to embrace, the values you want to embody and really illustrate to other people. And strategy is the idea that you have a starting point, and that is really just wherever you are now. That is your starting point for your strategy. But then what do you want to be? Where do you want to grow to? How do you embody that? How? And each of those steps has challenges involved in it, doesn't it? It always does, right? We're living in this reality, and I'm going to jump back into some of the stuff I talked about last week. We are living in a particle reality. I am particles. I am atoms. You are particles. And out of all of this, there's a possibility of the future in the quantum field, the quantum anything can be. And I particularly believe that when we get down to the minutia of all of us, the quanta, the tiniest, smallest portions, we are energy. And the deciding factor of that energy, as we learned from the double slit experiment, is that energy can be both wave and particle based on the observer. So just by you watching me, I am particle. The possibilities of what I can be, the possibilities of where my brain takes me, the values that I want to embody, the goals that I have, the things I want to accomplish, the strategy for being me is all wave because it's all out there. But I know that there are things that pop up, relationships, money, health, that require structure, that require process, that require systems. And the reason is that because of this particle reality, we exist. In fact, this is the thing that science has been fantastic about. And I kind of complain between the quantum science and the Newtonian science, how it's just all sort of messed up and the two can't seem to meet in the middle. It's because they're trying to examine two different paths, like consciousness science versus Newtonian physical sciences. There is an overlap, but for some reason, we can't really express it except in metaphysical terms. So we know that there are things in this physical reality that we have to systemize, we have to think about, we have to process, we have to plan, we have to repeat over and over to train the physical, the atoms, the molecules, the energy that exists here, to entrain the thought of those things, the ideas of the waveform, to be able to collapse that waveform in appropriate manner that it influences the matter in the direct way moving forward. Now, what does that mean? Because that's a whole lot of me saying a bunch of words. I think it kind of sums up as, look, when you're doing this strategy, when you're trying to figure out who you want to be and what you want for your future, you can't take the steps moving forward until you visualize the path that you want to, or at least the goal that you want to achieve, right? That goal at the end is what's going to drive your subconscious mind to move forward. Whatever that goal is, it has to be exciting. It has to be something that your brain loves, your body loves, your energy loves. It has to be something that's full of fun and creativity and excitement and love and things that make your body go, yes, I want that. But a lot of us get stuck in the day-to-day, right? Now, in thinking about those things, there are obviously challenges, and they're not blocks. Okay, blocks I consider blocks to be sort of like the Chinese medicine stagnation, qi that gets stuck somewhere in us. A block is not external to you. a thanks, Beth. A block is not external to you. A block is something that's internal to you. It's sort of the energy of vibration that is not moving the way that it's supposed to be moving. And the subconscious mind generally makes these through our experiences, through our traumas in life, through our traumas between the point of well, before birth until about 7, right? That's when that brain's in that theta state and uses all of our experience to really define and create who we are. Well, in the process of doing that, it creates blocks inside, emotional, energetic, stagnancies in Chinese medicine. Sometimes it's looked at as, Chinese medicine looks at it as like phlegm sometimes, right? Things that you think and feel become phlegm in your body. And just kind of thinking that, I'm like, that's phlegm. It's nasty. You don't want it inside of you. But things outside of you, those are challenges. And challenges, obstacles, are meant to be overcome. Because in this physical reality, in this physical realm that we are interacting with, when we start examining ourselves as quantum beings, as quantum energy on that fundamental level, we express the thoughts of consciousness through the energy nature that we are, and we move ourselves forward. And because we move ourselves forward in this particle nature, we've got to do things that, well, I'm not a fan of working out. I'm just going to say it right there. If you guys can see me, I'm a big guy. I'm not a fan of working out. I lift weights every now and again. I like taking a walk around the block, especially on days that look like this. It's just so pretty out. And so for my mind, I know that I've got a little bit of a mental block around that. But that starts in my mind, it goes to my body, but it's also trying to get back to the systems point I'm trying to make here, and I'm losing my path today. And I hope you guys are laughing along with me, because this just seems to be the energy of the moment, the energy of the day, and this is just who I am. In creating who you are, internally you'll find blocks. Externally, we kind of think of them as blocks, limits, right? But they're just challenges, because the quantum self, the quantum field that we are, the energy within, comes and exists in who we are and creates this body, this being, through the observation of being. This is that wave-particle duality. We exist because we observe we exist. And we exist because somebody else observes we exist. And this is all that same quantum experiment, one experiment. We exist because we observe that we exist, and because others observe that we exist. And that means that we exist in the past, present, and future because we are observed at some point. Well, inside, subconsciously, we are constantly observing something. And that's a belief about ourselves, that's a belief about the systems and the processes that we live in everyday life. But we can choose, on a subconscious level, to rewrite some of those things, so that the blocks inside maybe are a little bit less, so that the challenges outside are absolutely achievable, so that we can take the steps to actually manipulate how we observe inside and outside. And when we do that, we're actually strategizing. Okay, let me reframe that, sorry. Flip that. When we do that, we are creating the tactics to create that build the strategy of who we want to become. Okay. I think I got there. Let me just reframe that a little bit and roll with me. I want to be a certain type of man. I want to be a good man. I want to be a gentle man. I want to be a caring man, an empathetic man. I want to be a man who allows space to help others heal. I want to be a man who allows others' vision. I want to be a man who empowers others' vision for their brand, for their business, for things, everything about their life. That's the man I see myself as in my strategy. And I know that there are steps to take to get there. For example, internally, I have some stagnancy around health and exercise. I understand that. I'm working on that, right? That's internal. That's mindset. That is shifting the belief and the choices that I have about certain things and changing the choices that change the paradigm about how my internal world thinks about those things. That's how I think of mindset. That's the reason I don't like when others talk about, oh, I'm a mindset coach, because they have a hard time defining mindset at times. It's not just a positive or negative thing. It really is the choice, the belief on a very small level that transforms the way that you perceive. It changes the reticular activating system and the way that it's framed. But that really takes some focus work, some subconscious work. And in the process of becoming this man and working through some of these issues, I understand that externally, to get the body I want, I have to invest in exercise. I have to invest in the processes that train the body, the physical body, and match it with the wave pattern of the quantum field, my thoughts, my subconscious. Some are even saying the superconscious, right? This greater entity that is coming into who I am to helping me be the man I want to be. And I'm using me as an example here, but a lot of times the way I'm helping people is in their business, in their brand, really helping create clarity, because once we define the path of where someone is and where they want to go, we look at the challenges they face, right? What are the different steps they're going through? What does life look like, so that we can identify? Because strategy is not just sending someone tons of emails. It's understanding the process and sort of working. It's the whole, I call it the Disneyland loop, because when you're at Disneyland, there's all the different rides, and there's all the different orders that you want to take things in, and then there's food and all the rest stops, and you end up charting this map that looks, squiggly and all over the place, and you hit rides a couple times. Okay, maybe I'm too organized. Maybe I like to plan maps like this and plan journeys like that. But that's what strategy is. Strategy is your plan on how to get there. And we understand that tactically, the steps that you take may change. You may change the ride order depending on the line length. You may change food depending on your party who's with you. You may get churros. You may not get churros. I always get churros. It's tactically, things can adjust. Things can change. But strategically, you're always moving towards a goal, right? And that's the difference. Is I hear a lot of people use the word strategy when they mean tactics, and I think some people need to reframe just a little bit and think about themselves and think about those steps, because a marketing strategy, the goal of a marketing strategy is to get customers into the sales process. The goal of a brand strategy, which is where I focus, the goal of a brand strategy is to help customers feel an emotional resonance with your business. Because when they feel those feelings, that's the current definition of brand. The feeling, the reputation, what somebody else is bringing in about how they feel about who you are and what you're doing. So I'm thinking about, okay, well, business strategy. And I start to, in my head, I start thinking about, okay, well, how about business strategy? Well, people often these days, the only business strategy people seem to have is, I want to make money. Making money is a side effect of a good business, but it's not the strategy. If you have a business that is creating transformations in others, that's your strategy, right? That's your business strategy. I will create a transformation in others so that it ripples outwards. My business strategy is to talk about the law of attraction, to talk about consciousness, subconsciousness, to talk about quantum stuff, because I believe it changes your perception of your logo, of your brand, of all of the design stuff that is going on in your life, in your business, so that you can recognize it for the deeper vibrational truth that it is, and when we work together, program it to become the frequency that embodies your future, your future goal, whatever that's, what you want it to be. And when you do it right, then it has this look and feel that is absolutely the company you want to grow into. And over the course of 2 or 3 years, it's super easy to grow into that look and feel and embody that whole thing. But my business strategy is honestly empowering you so that, it's like, for me, I'm throwing a pebble in the pond and you are the pond and you are every single ripple that comes out from there. And that ripple, those ripples affect the fish inside, they affect the frogs, they affect the lily pads, they affect the flowers, they affect the grass. Really, we're talking about something that can affect the entire world if we embody enough chaos theory here. The butterfly flaps its wings and there is a storm in the savannah. It's that sort of thing. I believe that by helping you through my business strategy, that we transform the world. And so that's strategy. Tactically, here I am on Facebook, right? One tactic. You can also find me on YouTube, another tactic. You can also find me on LinkedIn, another tactic. And now each of those tactics can have strategies to get more followers to take place and follow and like and do all of that. And it's all about where you want to place your energy. Because if you're like me, you have a limited amount of energy every day. You get up, you cook breakfast, you clean up, you do some laundry, maybe you're going to work, maybe you're getting lunch, maybe you're getting coffee, maybe you go home, and it's all of the time that you invest in everything else. How much energy is left to influence the world? And this makes me remember my friend Ian Tufts posted an interesting post the other day, and he said, maybe I'm confused, but isn't woke culture just empathy? Isn't being woke just showing empathy? And I think that woke culture is actually a strategy of trying to move culture into a place that embraces compassion, that embraces empathy, that embraces community, because we've sort of grown up in society and individualism is our American identity, and it tears things apart. And since we are a communal species, since we are a communally driven identity in this particle body, isn't it better to embrace that community stuff going on? Anyway, neither here nor there. Strategy just is looking at, though, the end goal. Like, what is the actual end goal? And the end goal doesn't stop with you. That's the individuality. And honestly, that's the particle-ness of our training and our being. And when we try to embrace more of that wave concept, that wave community, future, everything that goes along with that, we just end up being bigger. And the reason is because that quantum field touches all of us. You are just one small aspect of infinity. And thank God, I am just one small aspect of infinity. And we together are both aspects of infinity. And within that, there's so much possibility for the positive influence that we can create, the positive feelings that we can engender, as long as we keep moving mindfully out of the state of selfishness, ego-driven. This is so going in a different direction that I really had planned, and my notes are there, and I'm going, well, okay, I need to get back to that. But you know what? I'm just going to say this and kind of call it a day here, that you can be anything you want to be. And I would say that the quantum field pretty much says that. If fundamentally you are you because someone somewhere sometime observed you, and therefore all of the clouds of probability quantum mechanics of atoms and subatomic particles within you suddenly collapsed, and you are this here right now because you are observing, then you have a choice. You can continue to be this, or you can continue, or you can start to strategize what you want to be. That's a little bit more wave, right? The creativity factor, the quantum field, and then start making those decisions and creating a structure, a process, so that you can identify the obstacles around you, keeping you from being that, and the things within you that are keeping you from being that. And when you start to identify both the challenges and the blocks, that's external and internal, you can start creating processes and systems to work with those. And that's really our strength in material reality. Our strength is our ability to look at what we've got, recognize the patterns of it. Because the brain loves pattern making. The brain loves challenges, mysteries, questions, solving things. So only once you identify those challenges can you start to reframe and reset. This is, again, I talked about the Pareto principle. Too much time that we spend looking at the 20% that sucks versus the 80% that really works well. Well, here, I'm telling you, look at that 20% specifically, but instead of acting on it, embracing, targeting all those mediocre to negative emotions, let's think about those and write them down. Because once we write them down, then we can enact that computer in the brain. We can say, this is what I'm experiencing, this is what I'm noticing, this is what's not working. How do I reset that? How do I reframe that? How do I move beyond that? Because that is essentially 180 degrees from what you look at, and it changes things when you start reframing like that. Instead of this is taking a moment to move beyond the basic limbic processing, midbrain processing, which is very particle, which is very much the body telling you something, a reaction to what's around you, and creating enough space. This is just that space. This is what that space is. That space is saying, here's the negative thing, here's the negative thing, here's the negative thing, here's the negative thing. Okay, I recognize that there is something I am feeling negative about. There's something that is bad that is blocking me, and here's what I choose to do to address it. And it can be either looking in a more positive direction. It could be walking away from whatever that is altogether. It could be simply addressing it completely counter to the way you would normally address it, right? This is actually something I learned in reality transurfing. They have the idea of pendulums in there, and this is exactly what a pendulum is. It is something that draws you in the standard emotional particle body response. It wants an emotional response, and what the guy says in that book is, look, instead of looking at that little piece, instead of looking at the thing that's driving you insane, instead of feeling that, just pretend it's a comedy. Pretend you're a cartoon. How would a cartoon respond to that? How would a comedy respond to it? Do something completely absurd. When we look at people in life who stand out, who do something different, who catch our attention, they are not doing the same things. They are not complaining the same ways. They are not handling life the same way. They tend to be a little absurd. They tend to be sort of caricatures of people. And the reason for that is that it makes a difference. It changes the energy. And when you embody more of this creativity, more of this play, it makes you feel like a child. Because you're playing with reality. And that's okay. Because when you embody that, when you embrace that, that's a tactic, right? It gets you more into the frame to follow the strategy to become the person you want to be, because it lets you be less bombarded by the external challenges, because energetically, they're there to block you. They are there to hold you back. They are there to challenge you, or frankly, steal your focus, steal your energy. And when you kind of hold it to yourself and play with it just a little bit more tactically, then you can hold to your own strategy of avoiding challenges a little bit more. And I know I'm a little all over the place today. I know that this is really nebulous, and for some people it's really high level. For some people it's really dull. Okay. So be it. This is just kind of sharing what's been on my mind today a little bit. So I know it's not as crisp and clear as the law of attraction stuff. I would love to discuss more of that stuff, more reality transurfing, more quantum theory, more consciousness theory in upcoming days. So, if you have questions, if you have an idea, or you just want to share, how does this work or how does that work, write a comment down below. If you're working on your business, if you're working on your brand, if you're working on becoming a brand out of a business, or working on any of these thoughts in general, and you want my feedback, my advice, anything like that, comment down below. If you know somebody that's going through a rebranding process and they are into the law of attraction, they are into quantum theory, they're into super consciousness, subconscious, any of these things, and you think that we might get along, please like, share, tag them below, comment, do whatever necessary, because I'm here for you. I'm really just trying to create the ripples in the pond going outward, enabling you to be the best you possible, because I believe in you, and I believe in the transformations that you will make in the world, and I believe that you are amazing, you are wonderful, you are outstanding, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching, and if you want to learn more about what I do and how I do it, I do a program called Manifest Design. It's really all about setting your vision, your brand values, your customer, a brief competitive audit. It really is bringing clarity and confidence to who you are as a business so that you can move forward into becoming a brand, which is something that somebody loves and feels resonance towards, which gives you and your business more energy. And it creates opportunity in the quantum field so that as you grow, you're collapsing it towards that brighter, bigger future, hopefully that you were envisioning. If you want to learn more about this stuff, if you want to see some of my design work, look on my website, www.thinktankcreative.net. And until tomorrow, I guess that's it. And take care. Bye.